Talking About podcast. Only two of us today. Grant is on vacation in Mexico. So it's just Ethan and I holding the fort down. We've got a loaded show. We've got our college football week 2 recap, NFL week 1 recap, and then going to look ahead to the upcoming week of games. But before we really get into it, we obviously, the big news that happened, and unfortunate news that happened today, was the Charlie Kirk was assassinated. Horrible. He's around our age. Regardless of what your political beliefs are, nobody should ever be killed over it, murdered over it. Hopefully justice can be served. Hopefully they're able to find the guy. But we offer our condolences, our prayers to him and his family. He leaves behind a wife and two little girls that are not gonna be able to really know who their dad was. It's just sad, and pray for his family that they're able to someday find some type of peace. By all accounts, he was a tremendous guy, but just wanted to start by offering our condolences to his family. But we will try to transition over to some football. Ethan, it's just you and I tonight. So what do you want to start with the recaps? Do you want to start with college or NFL?
Yeah, let's do college. Why not?
All right. So we'll start with college, our week 2 team of the week. And there are tons of candidates this week. I mean, this was the weekend of upsets. I mean, you got South Florida pulling the upset over Florida, which was absolutely abysmal coaching by Billy Napier. Oklahoma got a big win over Michigan. Mississippi State pulled off an upset against Arizona State. Army got a big upset over Kansas State. Illinois had a dominating effort on the road against Duke. And then Baylor coming from behind 2 scores on the road to beat SMU. And then Mizzou won the Border War. So, I mean, there are plenty of candidates here. And we will start here with as is tradition with the hats. We're gonna go with Ethan. You got first crack. I got second crack. So Ethan, your week 2 team of the week. Who is it?
I feel like it's got to be South Florida. Going into Gainesville. Granted, yes, like Florida has not been the Florida that we grew up with, but when has South Florida ever been good since the one time they played Rutgers when it was 1-2 up in New Jersey? Like, it just doesn't happen.
07 when it was when they were the number 2 team. Yeah,
Very Rice.
Just a wild year of college football.
Just insane. But how do you not? Like, Gainesville's not an easy place to go and win, no matter how good Florida is. But then they get the chance to go to Miami now too, and who else they beat? Who was it? Boise State. They beat they beat the brakes off of them week 1. Like, this is actually a legitimately good football team. South Florida's really bought into NIL down there, and you're seeing it. I don't know, like an SEC team losing to South Florida, like it's a real thing. Like, it's crazy to think, but Florida might be like the 4th or 5th best team in that state.
Yeah, it's not out of the realm of possibility, and we'll find out more this week where Florida stands after they play Miami. They go down. Did you see that game is going to be in Miami?
Yeah. Did you see that female AP writer actually moved Florida up 2 spots?
Yeah.
And then she makes her page private. Then she makes her Twitter private. Like,
she did.
What? Come on. Like,
well, I was watching the clip I saw about it was the clip I saw was like how beat writers, like the beat writer job has completely fallen off, where they basically strictly watch their team. Like, it used to be where beat writers had inside and out knowledge of like everything going on in college football, where now it is just specifically they are watching their team, and that's really it. So that type of thing is like she should have her citizen or her voting rights revoked.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You
Also,
can't.
it shows how much of a joke the those type of polls are.
Yep.
I remember seeing a clip of Tyler Siskey talking about when he was a grad assistant at, I can't remember what school. It was some small, like, I think it was like Arkansas State. And the coach there at the time had him do the top 25 poll for him. So it's half the time it's not even the coach that's doing it.
It's just a joke.
You'll get a kick out of this. And this coach, he was such a big fan of Duke basketball and Coach K that his only requirement when Siskey would do this poll is that Duke had to be in the top 25. They had to get a top 25 vote.
Jesus Christ.
But that South Florida was there. That one, that is a good one. But I've got to go with a team that's fallen on hard times the last few years, having their coach die, just completely destroying their program. But and we are not a pro Brandon Walker podcast by any means, but he's
we are a pro cowbell podcast.
We are a pro cowbell podcast.
100%.
I'm kind of mad at myself. I should have went over to my parents because when my dad used to ride bulls, he's got like a bell, like a cowbell that he used to put on, and I should have just brought it over and started ringing it. But
yep.
That's a team that has been kicked in the dick. And watching Brandon Walker and seeing his tweets and just seeing him tweet through everything that happened in that game where they get up 17-0, and then Arizona State gets the field goal before he starts to get a little bit nervous. And the pass that Blake Shapen threw to get them to go up 17-0 is one of the most beautiful passes I've ever, where it just drops it into a bucket and scores. I don't know if you saw that play, but it was beautiful. And I had a feeling that Mississippi State was going to win this game just because, by the way, that Kenny Dillingham was talking in the press conference, kind of shitting on Starkville, saying that there's really no hotels to stay. You know, this is not a good place to stay outside of casinos. Like, it's hard to find food. All the while, SEC teams have been going to Starkville since the 30s, probably earlier. But it just kind of showed that, like, and the way that Arizona State started the game, it seemed like their focus was maybe they were spending a little too much time in the casinos Friday night before the game. And in the morning, it was a night game, so they had a lot of time in between to get some gambling in. But, you know, we've seen this 1,000 times with Mississippi State where they get up and blow a lead, and then, you know, that's just kind of been their calling card is blowing leads. And for a second, it looked like it. The defense, though, to their credit, was able to hold Arizona State to a field goal, keep it with about a minute left, and then Blake Shapen to Brennan Thompson, again, over the top, and it was pandemonium. The crowd rushed the fields. The goalposts went down. And you know what? Good for Jeff Lebby. That is not an easy job, Mississippi State. I mean, I'm sure they're not. I mean, it's Mississippi, so they're one of the poorest states in the country. Yeah. I'm sure there's not a lot of NIL funds going through there. It's a tough job, and I think he's doing everything he can. And to go and get a win against the number 12 team in the country, who doesn't love a good – it's all right if Mississippi State wins a game like that every now and again.
Yeah. I mean, it's a heck of a win. You go up 17-0, you fall down – or I think it was 17-0, but you fall back down.
Yeah.
It's 20-17. You get the one big play, like how Arizona State lets that happen. Who cares? You won. That's all that matters. Just to have that resiliency and then that demeanor just down the stretch, like, I want this game. Good for them. Like that's a good win versus a good team.
Yep. It was. And I guess let's go to the NFL. We got our week 1 team of the week here, and I guess I got it here. So I got to go with the Minnesota Vikings.
That was going to be my number 1. Call me a homer.
You know what? I mean, if you're good with it, it could be our duo. You know,
that's
we could
fine.
just, you know, we're making the own rules. JJ McCarthy, it was not a great start. My phone was blowing up, and I missed the first half because we had a JV game I was coaching in, and I turn my phone off, do not disturb, and my phone is blown up. This guy sucks. This guy is terrible. Why did we trade up to get this clown? Blah, blah, blah. And it was, I didn't say anything. I just kind of kept quiet. I was like, well, I've seen this. The thing about JJ McCarthy is you never feel like you're out of the game. And part of that was to credit the defense, where the defense gave up yards, but they found ways to stall drives and keeping them in the game, because for about 2.5, 3 quarters, it felt like this game was like 31-6, not 17-6.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody's like, "What's the deal? Why is Jay?" I was like, "Well, the guy hasn't played a meaningful snap in about 600 days. The last time he played was when they beat Washington in the national championship game. He took 12 snaps in preseason. It's not like it's just going to click all the time. Like, you got to get your feet wet. And I feel like that interception, it almost kind of just like took the pressure off him, where he got it out of the way, and then he could kind of just go play free. Because, I mean, you watched him go to the sidelines after that and say, "Hey, we're good. We're fine." It was only a 2-possession game. And then he had that throw to JJ or Justin Jefferson. And that kind of just, you saw him playing looser. The operation, which was a big issue for those first 3 quarters, where, they were snapping the ball with 1 second left or late. That seemed to start to issue resolved itself. They were snapping it with 5-6 seconds left on the play clock. They were able to get the run game going. And I think you watch the press conference of KOC, you watch the rest of his teammates in the locker talk about, like, he's just poised. Like, we didn't doubt it because we knew who the quarterback was.
We've been saying that for the better part of 2 years now. Like, that's just who JJ is. I know the phrase is stupid. Like, winning players make winning plays, but that's exactly what he does. And he does it every single game that he's played in. It just continues to build, and then boom, he's right there. Like, he's on top of you. The Vikings are winning. And even then, we've talked about this multiple times too. You have to learn how to win. And that sounds stupid, but the Bears, they haven't won. They haven't won in how long? They don't know how to win these games. The Vikings have won 14 games last year, or 15, whatever the hell it was. They know how to close these games out. They know not to doubt themselves. Add in JJ, who, honestly, he might be the most gamer quarterback we've seen in a long time come out of the draft. He gave 2 shits he threw a pick. He didn't care. Like, he knew he was going to come back and win that game. And it started clicking. His offensive line started to hold up. Even in the first half, the 3 sacks he took, each one of those times, like, there was open receivers there, but that left tackle just couldn't hold his own. We let up 5 pressures all game. He let up 4 of them. On 2 of them, Jalen Naylor had a 5-yard cushion 30 yards down the field. If he has 2 more seconds, that's 14 points right there. Like, JJ knew what he was doing. He just didn't, on the big plays that they tried for, he couldn't get it going, and that's when they started stacking the line. They made it difficult to run. When JJ started getting this momentum going, that's when you saw Mason break off some runs. Aaron Jones broke free on a play-action pass down the right sideline for a touchdown. It all comes down to that pass protection. Then you go with the defense. Last year, the Vikings' interior defense, Phillips, and I can't remember who their other D tackle was, they generated 21 pressures all season. Do you know how many the Hargrave and Allen generated just last night?
What? It's probably 6 or 7?
13. They almost beat all of last year's interior pressure. The people can say the Packers have the best defense. They don't have the interior pressure that the Vikings do. And having 3 guys really on those edges, it causes havoc. And you finally saw them get into Caleb in that second half and forcing those bad throws and forcing him to speed up his process. And no offense, every young quarterback is going to do that. People can, again, roast Caleb Williams all they want. He was fine. Like, nobody is going to make half the throws that he had to try to make under that amount of pressure. That second half, it was over. Like, he couldn't do anything. And Ben Johnson had absolutely zero just response to that. And I was disappointed in Ben Johnson's coaching, to be completely honest, especially at the end.
It was
very sus.
Especially like, well, and back to you talking about the left tackle. I mean, that's going to resolve itself when Darisaw finally is able to come back.
He was a full participant today. He's playing Sunday.
So that issue, and JJ is just going to get more comfortable.
Exactly.
I mean, are there things he can work on? Yes. Like, he still only has the one speed, but eventually that's going to figure itself out. He's going to keep working. Like, he's one of those guys that is always looking to improve, continuous for constant improvement. That'll resolve itself. And the other part of it too is those 13 pressures. I didn't know the number, but I thought the interior of their D-line played better. And then also in the second half too, those ends were finally able to really, they did a good job of adjusting to where they were staying at the level of where Caleb was in the pocket, where they were able to close that off. Because there was the one right before they went up 2 scores. I think it was Van Ginkel. They had him coming off the edge, and you could see him look and see where Caleb was and work his way back to where Caleb wasn't able to step up and force that errant throw that he had.
And that's exactly where those interior pressure, that's what you want. You want to collapse from the outside, and you want those interior pressure guys right there, because then obviously there's no pocket. There's nowhere to go. And that's what they lacked last year. If they can do that, I doubt they force turnovers at the rate that they did last year. But obviously that's going to help you no matter what. So that was the big thing. But no, Ben Johnson, like, wasting the timeout on that challenge, horrible decision. Even like his knee was on the ground, and no matter what, even if the player doesn't make contact with Hawkinson, he just makes contact with the ball. The ball is part of the body at that point. Like that it's a dead ball. It's done. Like, how you don't know that rule, and then not to either onside it or kick it out of bounds when you know your kicker can't get it through the end zone. Like, what are you doing? Like,
yeah, exactly. Like, if you know your kicker can't kick it out of the end zone, you just tell him, we get it at the 40, or or
it's going to be who blinks first. They could keep kicking it out of bounds, or we can keep declining it. Like, at some point something's going to break, or the officials are just going to be like, no, like, you have to kick it in bounds. Like, it's going to be like the Eagles last year when where's the touchdown. Like, at some point you got to put your foot down. Egregious, like an absolutely egregious call or just decision by Ben Johnson to not try to kick that out of bounds or an onside.
And it's his first game. I mean, there's coaches who have been coaching for 40 plus years that still make mistakes. So, I mean, there's things that you're going to learn from. I still think this Bears team is going to figure it out. I think Ben John, they're going to somehow mesh more, because there were times where you could see Caleb was more improved. There's still other times where
night and day from last year. Like, I know people were roasting him and stuff, night and day. And even then on that ball on the last drive where they ended up scoring anyways, it didn't matter. But that DJ Moore one down the left sideline, that was a perfect throw. You're supposed to throw that to that pylon on the back shoulder.
Yeah.
I don't know what DJ Moore is slowing down for and starting to cut in. If he throws that where DJ Moore is, the safety kills him. So, like, people can roast saying, oh, it's a terrible throw. That's exactly where it's supposed to be. DJ Moore never should have put his hand up. He never should have slowed down. That's probably a touchdown if he continues his route and doesn't slow down and cut in.
Yeah. And also, I mean, he was also going up against Brian Flores, one of the best defensive coordinators in all of the NFL here. So,
sorry, I'm trying to get Boone out of the key litter.
Gotcha.
He's not a smart dog.
Boone being a troublemaker. But Ethan, we'll stick with you. What is your week 1 disappointing team of the week?
I feel like it's got to be the Ravens, and most particular John Harbaugh. Like, we've seen this year in and year out where he thinks he has this comfortable lead, and then he just shits the bed. Like, when it's 4th and 3, your defense hasn't stopped them all fourth quarter. You almost gave up 300 yards alone in the fourth quarter. Why the hell do you kick up? Why do you kick it when it's 4th and 3 from your 38-yard line with the game on the line? You were never going to stop them. Like, you freaking knew that. Like, if you didn't, you're an idiot. But, like, go for it. Like, put the ball in your best player's hands. Make them make the decisions. Is it going to go to Derek? Is it going to go to Lamar? Like, make them make this, and then let Lamar do his thing. Like, they hadn't stopped him all game. I just don't understand the concept. I think Harbaugh was really just in his own head at that point. Kind of not. I don't really want to say doubting himself, but you got to go for the kill. And I don't think Harbaugh has that. And when he does, they're the best team in football. But when he does it, this is what happens.
And part of that, I'll give him a little bit of grace because Derrick Henry does something that he never does, is fumble the football.
Mm-hmm.
And you could also look at it from the other side of like Sean McDermott deciding to go for 2 down. When they were down 15 and to go for 2 to make it a touchdown and extra point game instead of just kicking the PAT, where you took the risk of having it a 2-possession game, and it ended up working out for Sean McDermott. But yeah, I mean, this has kind of been a trend. Like, I think I can't remember the stat, but they've blown however many leads, 2-possession leads in like the fourth quarter. Like, they lead the league in it, I'm pretty sure.
I'm not doubting that. No, 100%, I'm sure. I haven't seen the stat, but I'm definitely confident, and you're right.
But yeah, and I mean, both these teams are going to be fine. Yep. I think, especially because the way the Bills' schedule sets up for them, I think they should be undefeated going into that game against the Chiefs. And I said that was why they were my favorite to be the 1 seed out of the AFC, is because of the way that schedule sets up for them. And even if they were to lose this game against the Ravens, and Ravens scheduled, I mean, it's a little bit tougher, but I mean, that's still a really good roster. They're going to be just fine.
Yeah, they'll be fine. But that's a game where that's the 1 seed versus the 3 seed, like
that's the difference between going to Kansas City or hosting Kansas City in the AFC Championship.
Yeah, or going back to Buffalo. Like, you don't want to go back there. Like, let's just be honest. Like,
well, and there's also the potential too that the next time they play there could be the last time that there's ever a game in that stadium.
Yeah.
Which, good luck.
Yeah, it's just not going to happen. Like, I as much as I want to see Lamar have playoff success, you're not going to beat Josh Allen there. Like, chances are so low. And that was your chance to do it, and you blew it.
Yeah. But you know who is also running out of chances? The Miami Dolphins and Mike McDaniel.
Oof. Man, over under he's there after week 6.
Well, let me go through my spiel here, and I've got something that he lived. They lived up to the game, up to Camp Softy, because that looked like a team that hadn't had any padded practices all training camp. I mean, there were, on both the offensive and defensive lines, there was zero physicality. How Achane was able to get a couple of tackles or have a couple of loose runs, I don't know. And I mean, there were I think I counted 4 or 5 times where Jonathan Taylor was running into the second level he was running to the second level before he was even touched, and watching the Colts offensive line just block their D linemen into the linebackers. And when you see that happen, it's going to be a long day. I mean, Tua looked terrible. I don't know what he was doing. And then
was it Holland that had the comment? I think it was Holland, the former safety there, had the comment. Like, he knew, and the team knew, once he gets off his first read, he panics, and that couldn't be more accurate. Like, it was the entire game. Like,
just watching his feet.
Yeah, like, it's just happy feet back there. And he's, 5th year in the league? Like, come on, man.
Well, his rookie year would have been 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. This is 6th.
Yeah. Like, good God. Yeah.
And I had the Dolphins finishing 3rd in the East because I like Tua more, and this could be an overreaction, but I'm not feeling like I'm going to be wrong about this. But Justin Fields, and I picked Tua because I trusted him more than I trusted Justin Fields. But man, even in a loss, I thought about giving the Jets my week 1 team of the week.
Just because of the way I looked at that game, and I'm like, I can't give it to the Steelers, but man, the Jets almost deserve it.
Yeah.
If Garrett Wilson catches that ball, honestly, they might win.
Jalen Ramsey said, "The hell you are catching that ball!"
Fantastic
stick.
hit. Thank God they didn't call a flag on that. I would have lost my shit.
Yeah, well, that was a perfectly good, clean hit.
Yeah, well, even in the Vikings game, they threw a flag. They picked it up, thankfully, but then there was still roughing the passer, so it didn't matter. But
yeah,
textbook hit over the middle, and I was losing it.
But I mean, the only way Mike McDaniel will be able to be an NFL coach is when he dresses up for one at Halloween.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, then I think we'll stay with the NFL. We'll wrap up with college here. We will our week 2 game of the week, and I got the one tomorrow night: Commanders versus Packers. Now the Packers looked like, and we were very critical of the Packers in this Micah trade, and we still could end up being right about it. Week 1, the emotion, all the energy, all the juice in the building, they fed off that, and maybe that was the difference in week 1, is because we talked about the Packers when we did our North preview about how they've gotten off to these slow starts where they aren't very physical. They look like they usually look like the Dolphins the first couple of weeks, where it was like trying to like get used to contact. But I mean, they feasted off the Lions' interior offensive line. Parsons made Sewell his bitch, and Jordan Love looked really good. I mean, he was getting the ball out on time and in rhythm. And then I thought LaFleur called a really good balanced game plan, keeping the Lions on their toes. And the worry with the Lions is that interior offensive line. And they clearly, right now, Goff and the offensive coordinator do not appear to be on the same page. They're working to get through that. I've been trying to fix that interior offensive line. But I'm very curious about this game against tomorrow night against the Commanders, because the Commanders' O-line is still a little hit or miss for me. They looked all right in week 1, but it was again, and that's a really good front four in the Giants. But they're also going to face another tough test again this week with Micah Parsons and Rashawn Gary. I think it's going to be who can run the ball best. These teams, it's their first Thursday night game. I think this could be potentially a low-scoring defensive battle, and see how improved the secondary is for Washington to if they're able to get Jordan Love, create some havoc. Is Von Miller's playing for the Commanders now, isn't he?
Oh, God, I have no idea. Maybe.
I feel like he is. I think he is.
I'm not trying to take anything. Go ahead.
Is Von Miller playing for the Commanders? Search the web. Yes, he is. He is
really?
With the Commanders. Okay. Yep.
And I'm not trying to take anything away from the Packers. They did look really good on Sunday, but it is so obvious the Lions miss Ben Johnson. Like, it couldn't be more obvious. And like you mentioned, the interior O-line, losing your starting center a month before the season, that's hard to replace. You can't. But for a team that was super, super, super good the last 2 to 3 years, it was as a Lions fan, you got to be really depressed looking at that performance and feeling confident that you can perform in this division, because it is the best division in football.
Yeah, 1,000%. And it also we could do an overreaction of this, but after watching that game, there's part of you that feels like that championship window for the Lions is closed.
Yeah.
And we'll see. It's week 1. So there's a lot that can happen, but no, and the only reason I thought about this was because Jason Whitlock talked about it on his show on Monday, that the Lions championship window is closed. So we'll see what happens in week 2, but Commanders Packers, my week 2 game of the week. Ethan, who do you got for what are you game you got your eyes fixated on for week 2?
I'm having a hard time not picking the Super Bowl rematch. Can the Eagles open up the passing game more? Like, they're going to have to. The Chiefs are going to load the box until they do. They have good corners. They can go one-on-one versus these guys. That's a very real thing that they can. McDuffie, and I can't remember the other corner's name, but McDuffie can handle Brown. That was probably my biggest takeaway from the first week, was just how awful that passing game was, and how do you not target A.J. Brown until 2 minutes left in the fourth? It just doesn't make sense. Like, you can have Saquon, you can run Hurts, but at the end of the day, and by week 9, 10, those guys are going to be burnt if you keep running them like they are. Chiefs, how do they bounce back? Like, Worthy's probably not going to play. He's going to be out an extended period of time. How does he look, or how do they look? I mean, Hollywood Brown, good receiver. He's definitely not a 1. Travis Kelce, he's definitely not Travis Kelce anymore. Pacheco looked horrible in their first week. Granted, maybe that's just he wasn't getting in his groove. They gave Hunt too many touches. I don't know. But there's a lot going here. Like, neither one of those teams looked particularly great their first game.
Pass rush for Kansas City was really concerning.
The Kansas City was awfully concerning.
Yep. That and even some Chiefs fans, there's a lot of nervous. There isn't that confident swagger that they've had the last few years of, oh yeah, it's the Arrowhead Invitational. We're just gonna get a free pass to the Super Bowl. There's some tentativeness from the Chiefs.
Yeah. Except if you're Nick Wright, who still thinks they're the best thing since sliced bread.
He does, but and that's why how I adjusted it, or why I've said like this. They aren't as confident and cocky as they have been in the past, because even he was concerned about that pass rush of the Chiefs and the offensive line. So it'll be a good game. I don't think it's going to be a blowout. I think both teams are still going to be. I could see a couple of turnovers from out of each. And even the Eagles' offensive line didn't look great in week 1. I thought Dallas did a really good job of actually of bottling up Saquon. It was the scrambling of Jalen Hurts is what killed him.
100%.
Kansas City bottled that up.
Yeah, they have Bolton there to track him. Yeah, they have the linebackers that can run with him for sure. I don't think the Chargers did.
So we have our week 2 NFL game of the week. Let's go down to the college. And Ethan, what do you got for us for your week 3 Beth Mullins game of the week?
Oh boy, the Beth Mullins. I'm actually going out to California. You're actually familiar with this team. They just played Michigan 2 weeks ago. New Mexico, UCLA. Oh my God, UCLA! They are so bad. They are so bad. Like, Foster,
awful.
Oh, Foster was just a horrible hire. Pretty much just cut off all media from their practices. No one knows a thing about this team. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter because they suck. Like, no one cares. Like, if they have 1,000, 2,000 fans at that game, I'll be shocked because there was nobody there last year when they were decent. God forbid anyone going there this year.
Yeah. Well, and I also had this, so we'll just call it as it is. It's a communal 3 guys talking about podcast, Beth Mullins game of the week. And I liked what I saw out of the Jason X team, out of the Lobos in week 1 against Michigan. Granted, it was against the Laws, but it was an inferior opponent. But they were physical, they were tough. You could, and we're familiar with Jason X because he was the offensive coordinator at South Dakota State for however many years. And you could see that identity of being that tough physical team, and being able to run the ball really well. It's slowly starting to take shape, and I think they're going to be a tough out in the Mountain West. And I think that in the next coming years, I think he's a good enough recruiter to where he's going to be able to pull some guys down to Albuquerque and get some good teams where they're going to be competing at the top in that top half of the Mountain West.
Yeah.
So I think I saw UCLA as a 14.5-point favorite.
That seems really favorable. I would hammer New Mexico.
I am with you there.
Probably not outright, but yeah, I mean they're covering
14.5. It's going to be a game going into the fourth quarter for sure.
Yeah.
So we'll go to our college football week 3 game of the week. I got this one here. And it's a SEC opener, excuse me, for both of these teams. Georgia versus Tennessee. Tennessee.
They look good.
Game's going to be in Knoxville. Yeah. Joey Aguilar has looked really good. It looks like the Vols have won that trade so far.
Not even close.
And I mean it's been a bit against inferior opponents, but we're going to find out which QB is real. Georgia has not looked great this year. I mean,
they only beat Austin P. 28-6?
And the more telling part about that is how Georgia had 5 plays from inside the 1, and Austin P shut them out of the end zone. They had a goal line stand against Georgia. I'm
pulling up now to look at the stats.
That isn't a sentence that I should ever want to utter. Is Austin P had a goal line stand against Georgia?
Yeah, only 6 yards per completion. They really need to work on that red zone offense. Yikes! And
I think both teams. I think Georgia. It's very critical that they get off to a fast start. Where Tennessee, they haven't beaten Georgia since 2016. They have since it's been that Hail Mary down in between the hedges at Sanford Stadium. And to where if they're able to get out to a fast start, put Tennessee on their heels, see how Tennessee handles some adversity, which these for a long time they haven't really done well, where they've had to come from behind and take that crowd out of it, get that nervous crowd where every play it's like, I don't know. And, try to take pressure off Gunnar Stockton where they're able to establish that run. If Georgia is able to block that Tennessee defensive line, I like Georgia's chances. Will they be able to, especially in a hostile environment? Gunnar Stockton making his first road start in the SEC. I'm not sure I can confidently pick Georgia to win. I think Tennessee is going to win and put them as one of the early favorites to for the SEC championship.
All right, good pick. I'm going to my ACC title game. Actually, Clemson at Georgia Tech.
I've thought about that one too. That one was a low-key a game day sleeper.
Yeah, absolutely. Georgia Tech went on the road, beat Colorado, which granted they are not anything special this year. Obviously, they don't have Hunter or Sanders, but winning on the road, going two time zones, that's impressive. It doesn't happen all the time. Can Clemson bounce back? That was a horrible first week performance. Second week wasn't much better. Down 17-0 to Troy before you finally came back. What are you going to do? Klubnik, you're the face of this program. You're almost the face of college football at this point. What are you going to do to bounce back from this rough start? Clemson has probably they might be fighting for their college football playoff lives already, which is crazy to think. And Georgia Tech, what does King do? He's a solid quarterback. This game can bring you up to a level if you have a good game, you're in the Heisman talk at this point if you're King. So there's a lot riding on this game. Georgia Tech, you win this, you're in the driver's seat for the ACC at this point too with Florida State. So huge implications for a lot of different reasons in Atlanta this weekend.
And the knock on Klubnik has been he has a tendency to give the ball to the other team.
Yeah,
still has not resolved itself. This is just year, and at this point, you kind of are what you are. The running game, and that's the other part too. Is that was my concern with Clemson going into the year was I didn't trust their running game, and there hasn't been a running back that's really been able to step up and kind of take ownership of that number one running back spot. And I think that's really been hurting them as well.
Mm-hmm.
So and going down to Georgia Tech, it's probably been the biggest game since, I don't know, in probably 10 to 15 years.
Probably since
and that's
Calvin
probably
Johnson
being
was
conservative. Yeah. Well, they had a couple of good years right away under Paul Johnson down when they played Iowa in the Orange Bowl. But
True.
But
yeah, no one remembers that.
It was when Calvin Johnson was there.
Yeah, no one remembers that stuff.
So it could be. I still would take Clemson to win, but it was a game that at the start of the year that I had circled of like, this is going to be one of Clemson's toughest tests.
Yeah.
But I could also see Clemson, after losing to LSU and then having a little bit of a hangover, maybe Dabo's got them fired up and got their ducks in a row. And after falling behind 16-0, maybe he's been on their ass all week, where Clemson just comes out and drops a 40 burger in the first half, and the game is not even close, and we're looking like, because I could totally see that happening too.
Yeah, because Clemson, like we already said on the preview of the year, like they're one of the most talented teams in the country. It's just a matter of really just getting them to believe that and clicking is really what Dabo needs to do.
Yep. So those are our week 2 games of the week. We're gonna wrap up the show here, do curveball of the week. And my curveball is going to be, what was like a moment or exciting life event that you had where you were just like jacked up and you had like almost like I wouldn't say out of character, but like out of body, where it was like you did something out of excitement that you normally wouldn't do?
Oh, easy. The Minneapolis Miracle, for sure. I was on my tiny little studio apartment in Iowa City, and I have that couch there, and then I have my futon up against the back wall, TV up against like the front window there. I was on the front of the couch, and when it happened, I launched myself mid-conversation with Grant on the phone from the front of that couch all the way over to my futon. It was like a 10-foot broad jump. I think I've never done anything like it in my life. I probably never will again. I'd probably tear so many muscles trying to do it. But easily the most excited, just most athletic thing I've ever done in my life.
I remember that's like also just a tremendous, like, I love hearing stories of what people did or what they were doing for the Minneapolis Miracle. So if you've gotten to the end of this show here, leave a comment on YouTube, in the YouTube comments, or wherever we share this, and you're seeing this, leave a comment and tell us what your reaction was, where you were watching it at, who you were with, of the Minneapolis Miracle. That'd be fun to hear, because it's one of them moments that you'll always remember, where it was like, because I remember that was when I was living with Cody, and we were sitting in the basement. It was friends and I, and it was all just like, and I was cheering for the Vikings because I do, and I can't stand the Saints. And it was like, and there was one guy he was a Broncos fan. He was just giving it. It was like, ha, Vikings choke again, blah, blah, blah. And everybody it went from like, it was like just everybody was like ready to just start drinking their sorrows away. And then the Diggs sideline, unbelievable, and everybody starts jumping up and down, going nuts. Like, it went from drunk sad to drunken disorderly, like that. And that was it was like you walk around and everybody's talking. It was like, what a game. Everybody's high, like, we're going to the Super Bowl. It's a backup quarterback. The Vikings got it in the bag. And then the NFC Championship happened, and we won't discuss, but mine was when I got my CDL. And it was so while I still to this day contend I have to be the only person that has ever had their truck die during their CDL test. and still be able to pass. And so I was doing my back, and all of a sudden the truck cuts out, started up, back a little bit more, truck cuts out again. And then I started up a couple more times, and then it finally starts. And I'm still convinced that she only passed me because she felt bad for me. My truck died because the exhaust overheated.
Right.
And get through the backing, do the drive part, and then when we get back to where like to the DOT where I'm taking my test, and she like goes, all right, well, let's go get your license. And like my face just lights up. I got like this big old smile, and I didn't do it, but I totally was like that close to like just going across and just giving her a big old kiss on the cheek. I was so excited. But when I got out of the truck, I did the full on the LeBron dance, the pound the chest, because I was like, yes, finally. But
love it.
Getting my CDL was up there. So that wraps up. That was a short, sweet, to the point, but we jam-packed a lot into this 46-minute episode. So thank you guys to everybody who has tuned in or listened. Make sure you go hit that subscribe button on YouTube. Hopefully we'll try to get up to 200 followers here soon. We've been stuck at about 175 for about the past year and a half. So anybody, please go hit that subscribe button. Make sure you're following us on all of our social medias, 3G TV Podcast. We'll be posting content there as well. So thank you guys again for listening. We'll talk to you.